what's going on? Ryan here with Intersection Records, and we're talking Miles Davis on a Monday afternoon again, and we're talking about the album Jazz Track. So this was released after Kind of Blue, and it features the same sextet minus Wynton Kelly as Kind of Blue. Sextet with Bill Evans on piano, Cobb, Jimmy Cobb on drums, Paul Chambers on bass, both Cannonball Adderley, and Coltrane, of course, Miles Davis. It's an interesting record. Okay, so in 1957, Miles recorded this album, right? Elevators to the Gallows. And I'm not going to pronounce this. This was released as a 10-inch only in Europe. It was not released in the United States like this packaging, okay? And this is a band featuring Miles Davis. It's a soundtrack to a movie, a French movie, featuring Kenny Clarke on drums. Kenny Clarke, the year previously, or 1956, had moved to Paris. He exiled to Paris, liking that lifestyle more. So Clarke's already over there. When Miles tours Europe, he's using a lot of times European musicians playing his music. So this record makes up side one of this record as the U.S. edition. Side two is material that was recorded in March, actually Miles's birthday, March 26th of 58. So Miles is 38 years old on May 26th of 58. And there wasn't enough material from that session. Think about it. We have Kind of Blue recorded in the spring of 59, right? It's released in August of 59. It's so popular, Columbia's like, what else do we have in the vaults? Well, we have that session from, May of 58 that we could release, and we haven't officially released this yet. So let's put this on side one of Jazz Track. Let's make side two the other 30 minutes or so. It's not even 30 minutes. It's like 20 minutes of music. Okay? So it's not enough for a full-length album with the sextet, but we have the Elevators of the Gallows making up the rest of it. I'm gonna do Elevators of Gallows in a separate review at some point. I am going to briefly talk about it here. Again, the first side is made up of musicians from France primarily, and Kenny Clarke's on drums. We have Barney Willen on sax. We have Renee Autreger on piano and Pierre Michelau on bass. It's actually pretty good. I'm not crazy familiar with it. Miles did this whole thing in a one-night session that started at 10 p.m. on December 4th of 57. So December 4th of 57, Miles goes to Paris. He says, they're telling him he's going to be part of a movie. They have him watch the movie. He spends the next night loosely coming up with ideas. The whole thing's improvised except for one track that we'll get to. They get to the studio, they drink for an hour, they do 4 hours worth of recording, then they do 2 hours of mixing. By 5 a.m. the next morning, they're gone and they're out of there, and this has been put on wax. 1958 movie by Louis Malle called Ascenseur Père and Chaffarade, which is Elevators to the Gallows, if you will. I apologize for my pronunciation. This ends up coming out in November of 59. Again, Columbia is dying for something new. There's some good stuff on here. Track 3, Serato Route. is a bebop magic. Kenny Clark's swinging, Miles is playing really fast, the band's killing it. It's one of the best songs. The first couple songs are just real tranquil, poignant pieces. 2-minute sections of music with Miles playing lovely. Number 6 track I really like. It's almost a 4-minute track. Miles plays really nice. Nice driving rhythm section. They're feasting Pere Mole and Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark's part of the original bebop guys, one of the innovators in bebop music. Moves to Paris, and that's where he stays until the 70s. The next couple songs, 7 and 8, are kind of his bass interludes. Florence Les Champs-Élysées is next. Again, these are all original tunes by Miles. It's improvised. This kind of floats. It's really pretty. Floating in the Parisian summer night. Romantic ballad. Au bar de Perlit. Better is next. Almost a 3 minutes. Solid little piece. Regal. It kind of just sounds elegant. The 10th and last track is Chez des Photographes des Motel. Again, my French pronunciations are awful. It's a nice, almost 4-minute piece. The next side is where the magic really lies. Again, there's not a lot of music from this sextet. Cannonball Adderley, John Coltrane, Bill Evans, Miles Davis, Paul Chambers, and Jimmy Cobb. It's a shame. And we'll talk about a song that was taken off of this, that was recorded in that same session. Opens up with the great Bronislaw Kapoor and Ned Washington song On Green Dolphin Street, one of my favorite jazz tunes of all time. It's almost 10 minutes long. That alone makes this album worth owning. If only we had more from this sextet, or at least Coltrane, Miles, and Evans. Cobb has just replaced Philly Joe Jones. Evans has just joined this band. In December, I think, of 57, Adderley's joined the band. And Coltrane's back after a brief stint out of the band. Really, really good stuff. This material was released on something called 1958 Miles back in 1974. So some of this material was put on different compilations. You'll notice if you're watching my shows, I don't really do compilation albums. And my buddy Derek, who watches every week, said, well, Ryan, it's a compilation album. What is this? I bought this because it's really the best way to get those 2 albums, or those 2 sessions. It's the only place to get, other than 58 Miles that was released in 74. In 1959, it was the only way to get that session from May 26th of 58. Fran Dance is next. It's actually mismarked. The song is Fran Dance, but the album says Put Your Little Foot Right Out. That's a misprint. It is Fran Dance. Miles had started dating Frances Taylor by now. He would eventually marry her in December of 59. This came out in November of 59, coincidentally. But Miles has been messing around with her since the mid-50s. When she was married, she ended up getting a divorce. Long story. Fran Dance is a beautiful ballad. Miles with the mute-in, just in fine form. Coltrane is floating through Miles after Miles' intro. It's gorgeous. Stella by Starlight. Again, another Ned Washington song. He helped write on Green Dolphin Street. Along with Victor Young, Ned Washington writes Stella by Starlight. These are classic songs. These are, part of the jazz songbook. Smooth is the other side of the pillow, as they say. The guy from ESPN used to say. This is a special group. This sextet's wonderful. On Green Dolphin Street especially makes up this great side of music. So after Stella of Starlight, by Starlight, Miles counts off Love for Sale. You know, again, we're exploring modal jazz. We've talked about that a little bit with Milestones and Kinda Blue. The story goes, they did a 12-minute version of Love for Sale that Coltrane gets so excited and energetic that he blows some lines in some of the chord changes. And, you know, they decide that it's not good enough to put out. If you could have put Love for Sale out, you could have had a 32-minute album. You could have put Love for Sale on one side and these 3 songs on the other side. You know, or a combination of that. Maybe you could have done Fran Dance with Love for Sale and then on Green Dolphin Street and Stella by Starlight. Then this album's looked at it a completely different way. Now, in 1972, a compilation album called Black Giants was released and did release that recording from that session. Again, by the 70s, Columbia is looking for anything that they could put out by Miles, especially from this sextet. I think this is essential to have. Yes, this is a beautiful cover here. Okay. And I've never seen the movie. This is a nice piece of work too. But here you have this on side 1, and you have 20 minutes of Miles playing with the sextet. That is probably my favorite band of all time. Maybe in any genre. This is a quality piece of work to own. We're going to pick next week's record, and let's see where we can get. I'm going to be on vacation next week. I may not get it out on Monday. In fact, I probably won't be able to. Bitches Brew. Yeah, released in April of 70, recorded just days after Woodstock in August of 1969. This is a seminal album, of course, Columbia. It went platinum in the United States. It went gold in the UK. Bitches Brew for next week. Peace out. See ya.